What's going on, guys? I hope you are doing well this late afternoon, night. Yeah, it's currently 7:53 where I'm at here. Yeah, I just wanted to cover various charts because today was rather intriguing. So first and foremost, I like to start off with the S&P 500. The S&P 500 on the daily candle perspective gapped up once again, pumped all the way up today for a whopping 1.47%. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but in traditional stock land, like that's pretty good. That's like 10% of annual returns on average for the average long-term investor within the markets for yeah, traditional stocks. But overall, I wanted to introduce a new tool. It's pretty similar to Market Cipher, but I recently got it and I think it's really intriguing. It's called hold on, I'm so sorry, Market Liberator. That's the term they call it. It's similar to Market Cipher where it has Market Cipher B, has a sorry, Market Liberator B, and then it has a Market Liberator A and a Market Liberator SR. I've been kind of just playing around with it, and so far I've been kind of enjoying it. I've customized it to my specifications. It looks pretty much similar to how I had set it up. There's a couple of differences. The money flow is actually way more easier to read. It's more dramatic, so it's just easier to see where money flow pivots to the upside and then goes to the downside. That's like significantly easier to read. So overall, anyway, going back to the charts here, this has been pretty strong overall. So as long as price can sustain above 4,087.14, we're in good standing for continuation to the upside. Now, this area right here, I did mention this area yesterday as being a key level of resistance moving forward for various reasons. I'm going to make it red because it is intimidating. But for real it is. Because if you zoom out, this was actually the macro low within the bull rally. And as you can see, once price started bouncing from here and losing it as support, since then it's been acting as resistance. Okay, we had a resistance test right here. We have yet to touch it since. From the point of today, it's been 171 days since price has ever been up here, so I'm really curious to see what's going to happen when price hits 4,305, frankly. I do think that this will be volatile. If there were to be any type of swing, um, it would probably be at this level. So from what I'm suspecting, just out of, you know, I would suspect something like this, and hopefully price could hold 4,087. Not too sure if that is in the cards. Price could break through. Hopefully it sustains above this macro line here and kind of continue moving forward. I'm not too sure exactly how it's going to play out, but from my perspective, a lot of people will be taking profits right here. Um, so I can't necessarily feel too confident in prices breaking through it. That I feel would be very far-fetched. I feel like that would be a prime area to consider taking profits and also to kind of close out any long positions from other asset markets overall. Now, if you opened up a fresh long, I would sincerely be careful because, you know, from this standpoint, we've already, from the local bottom here, we've already pumped 11%. That's pretty substantial. So opening up a fresh long right here is a little ill-advised. There's a high likelihood of a potential pullback in the future. So if that were to happen sooner rather than later, you're going to want some dry powder to really enter in at a more opportune position. But anyway, I'm going to move on to Bitcoin here. Let me see, where is Bitcoin? There you are. All right. So let's see what happened here. So There was earning reports today for three major companies, which was Amazon, Apple, and Google. Unfortunately, all three companies, they did not make their earnings quotas, so to speak, so that added fear into the market. Right when that information was released, price was up here and it just completely got rejected. So that was not good news. My thesis for Bitcoin was pretty consistent yesterday. I'd stated as long as price cannot break above this area on a daily candle, we're going to be consolidating within this range. So I do feel pretty confident that that is still the case. We may have an opportunity in the near future to break above 23.96 in order to continue this upward trend. But right now, what I'm seeing here on the daily perspective is momentum, not money flow. I'm talking momentum, these blue waves right here. Momentum is starting to stagnate. So as you can see, we went from the low all the way here, and now we're kind of grinding down to the downside, okay? Now, we don't have a sell signal just yet. What makes me feel very confident that we're probably most likely more so going sideways as opposed to breaking down is because of how thick this money flow is. Like, look how thick this is. Look how deep in the red we were. Look how much sell pressure was. Now we have buyers coming in. So essentially, money flow needs to cross down significantly in order to maintain a consistent move to the downside, which that's just not happening at all at this time. So I wouldn't be too worried. And I can go into other charts that would be more advantageous to what's going on. I don't know if you can hear my neighbor's dog, but I don't know what's happening. There could be a squirrel out there. I have no idea what's going on. But anyway, sorry, it's a little distracting. All right, so from the charts itself here, we're still consolidating above the 9 exponential moving average, so that is still bullish. Now, even though this candle did get rejected off of the area here at 23.9, it was not bearish engulfing, meaning that bulls were able to maintain the price above the last bullish candle here. So you could make an argument that as long as price is above 23.13K, we can still assume a consolidation period to maybe potentially within the coming day or coming days to retest this to maybe even attempt to go further. But now, if this area is broken right here, I would be pretty concerned. Essentially, this is right here, this white line, this is more so the line in the sand for me. If I do see, well, let me make it a different color. Let me make it purple, orange. Thinking of Halloween for some reason. But yeah, if I see a daily candle close right around here, I would reconsider closing my long positions and maybe checking out to see if I can get in at cheaper prices, because realistically, if we lose the 786, if I see a daily candle close below 786, I feel pretty confident in saying that we're most likely going to see the 682, and at that point, we're racing to the bottom, because realistically, once you lose the 786, what happens is price will come down, back test it as resistance, come back down, and if it does not hold, if the 0.618 does not hold, we're most likely going to go even lower to the 0.382 area. That is very concerning if you're in a macro bull right now in a long position. So it's just better to, um, you know, uh, it's better to just not be in any position at that point. Or maybe even consider a short position. But I just want to give you possible scenarios as to what's coming up. Like I said, my thesis hasn't really changed. I do think, yeah, like the information regarding the major tech companies not meeting their profits or whatever, that's not pretty good. That is kind of recessionary type of signs. So not healthy, if I'm being realistic here in terms of an overall macro market. But I think overall, it's not the end of the line here. I will say that. All right, so I'm going to move on to Ethereum. All right, so I moved these. Hold on, I'm so sorry. There you go. That's better. Sorry, I deleted something by mistake. It's back. I move these lines here on the daily candles here. So in order to validate a triangle pattern, you need to have 5 touch points. Here we've already validated that tremendously. So we have 1 touch point here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a pretty staunch support line. And we have 1 touch point here, 2, 3, 4 touch points here. So you can classify this daily bullish triangle pattern, which is a bullish pennant, as already being broken out. So there's a caveat here. There was a breakout because of, the crappy results from Apple, Amazon, and Google. Price wicked to the upside, basically 5% almost, and it came right back down. We're still trading above yesterday's candle close high, so that's still good. And we back tested it as support once again. Obviously, there's, as you can see on the time threshold right here, there's still 21 hours to go. But realistically, even though that was a failed breakout, we're still meeting the standards of a traditional breakout. So as long as I see daily candle closes above this line right here, and this is a key line in the sand, if I see a daily candle close below this line, I'm going to have to reconsider my position, my bullish position, okay? But as it stands, we're still doing pretty well here. Now, if I go to the RSI is creating new lower lows, which is not good. But the thing is, as long as price can sustain above the 60 level, we're still technically in the bullish control zone, which we definitely are at this time. And as you can see from the Ethereum USDT chart here with the market liberator here, money flows thick, thick, thick right now. Thick in the positive. Technically thick in the blue. We're thick in the green, but this is thick in the blue in my scenario. That just means it's easier for the bulls to push the price up than it is for the bears to push the price down. Also, we do have this unique trend indicator on the daily perspective. As you can see, the dots are still bullish, so we are still in a bullish trend overall. So that's something to keep in the back of your head as well, because some people were scared. I got some messages earlier in my DMs, like, hey man, it dumped 5%. What happened? Well, what happened was the reports from major companies not hitting their sales marks and their profit margin marks or whatever. So that was the reality of the situation, but it did not completely wreck the market. I will say that, or at least to be determined. Yeah, TBD. Anywho, all right. So that's enough with Ethereum. It was a pretty substantial pump. That was really fun. I mean, if you caught this and you took some profits, I mean, if you caught some of this and took some profits, man, like congratulations, because that was a nice rip to the upside. I mean, 5%. I mean, if you caught it down here, I mean, you're looking at a pretty nice 8% gain right here, at the very least. So congratulations if you were able to ride that wave. But yeah, let me look at some other things that I'd spoken about a couple days ago here that I want to address with you all. So I want to look at Litecoin. So interesting stuff that's going on with Litecoin here. All right, so we're actually at the heart line of this particular 20% range right now. And why I know it's the heart line is because of this market liberator SR indicator, which is basically support and resistance. Right now it's in the middle of these two ranges here. We do have support up here. We don't have official resistance up here for some reason, but that's no core reason, no qualms about that. I'm more so curious as to what's going to happen regarding this asset. So a big revelation happened yesterday, which we got across. Now, I think, let me see. Yeah, this is the cross. So essentially, if this candle closes above the 9 exponential moving average, okay, which it's currently above it at, say, at current price is 3%. It's currently 3% above the 9 exponential moving average, which is phenomenal. So as long as price is able to consolidate above this, that would confirm a 9 and 21 exponential moving average cross to the upside, which is a very bullish move, even on the daily perspective. Now, on the daily perspective, we have not confirmed that, but if you go to the 12-hour, which is a precursor, we've already confirmed it. We confirmed it days ago. And overall, this looks very strong. It looks very bullish. I do expect price to, just like it went up here, I do expect price to come up here. Now, keep in mind, this is Litecoin versus Bitcoin, not USD. So I do suspect Litecoin to retain USD value better than Bitcoin at this time, regardless if price is going to the upside or going to the downside. So if all assets are going to the upside versus USD, that would just multiply your USD net profit earnings from holding this asset versus Bitcoin. Now, my thesis regarding altcoins, yes, you have those anomalies where they rip for like 3 weeks, like 12x, 13x, 15x or whatever, 100x or whatever, which is great, but that's not sustainable. That's like casino stuff to me, because these charts, they don't have enough data to really figure out technical analysis. That's why when I look at charts, I need to see charts that at least have a year's worth of data, because that's where like traders have been accumulating support and resistance zones, psychological levels have already been established. Then you can actually incorporate traditional technical analysis, which is used in stocks, in indices, commodities, etc. So that's just my ideology. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, that's not really me. I like to look for sustainability. I like to look for security. I like to look for things that are going to be around for the next, bull run and after. So I'm a very long-term investor. I know I look at the daily charts and like the hourly charts sometimes on this channel, but realistically, in the back of the fundamentals of my mind, I'm always investing in assets that I feel confident that will be around for the near and long-term future. But okay, I digress from that. But yeah, so far Litecoin has passed that shit test, so to speak, where yeah, I do feel like yes, it's gonna sustain itself. So it's coming off of this pretty substantial rally, and as you can see, when it rallies, it just goes up and only up for a while, and then it consolidates and it goes pumps up, and then you get consolidation and it just rips to the upside. So I feel like we're in a similar situation right now. So the thing about Litecoin is that it doesn't have a halving that is synced up with Bitcoin. Actually, the halving for Litecoin, I forget the exact month. I want to say June. Don't quote me on this, but later this year, we're going to see Litecoin have its halving effect. Now, this is a year earlier than Bitcoin's halving event. So essentially, supply, it gets significantly reduced, so the law of supply and demand takes into effect. Now, taking that in consideration, you essentially have a year time frame for Litecoin to essentially leapfrog the productivity of Bitcoin. So that's happened in the past couple cycles, and it's been pretty consistent. So during the bear markets, funny enough, Litecoin for a period of time does significantly outperform Bitcoin. So it's historically built into this ecosystem that we call the crypto market. So it's a nice little life hack. That's a big reason as to why Litecoin is performing pretty well versus other assets out there. So that's something to take in consideration. Keep your eye on Litecoin until, for at least this year. If you are thinking of dollar cost averaging into something, not financial advice, but from my perspective, Litecoin is a top tier altcoin for me. And another one is Quant. So Quant actually, funny enough, it tagged here, this zone that I was looking at. It hit my limit order of 0.0059, which is phenomenal. Now it could come down lower. The Fibonacci extension does state that it will eventually go to 0.00557, which, you know, I'd gladly limit order back into this, because it's coming off a significant rally. Now, for assets to perform like this, in this instance, which is a total of 638%, which is a 6.3x versus Bitcoin, okay? For it to perform in such a manner in a bear market as egregious as this one has been, is a strong statement of how resilient and productive this technology is. So that is why I have it on my charts, on my radar, I'm sorry. Obviously my chart is right here. But so it broke out of this long-standing resistance that it was in for pretty much 3 months, a little over 3 months. Since then, it's been consolidating above key levels of resistance here, pretty much around this zone area, which also aligns with the 0.382 Fibonacci extension. So we do see confluence, meaning there are multiple indications pointing at the same spot within the chart. So as it stands, I still see quant as a very, very, very productive asset versus Bitcoin in the near future. Because if Bitcoin decides to pump to the upside, you can bet quant will do so, but with more intensity. So knowing that, from my perspective, yes, you can dollar cost average into Bitcoin, which is I think that's one of the smartest things that you could do as an investor in our day and age. Ethereum as well. Those are no-brainers in my opinion. Obviously, timing is important, but also, you know, resiliency through a long-term blueprint is important. Like, you want to have not a 6-month time frame, investment time frame. You want to have a 5-year time frame, a 10-year time frame, a forever time frame. You know what I mean? You want something you just want to dollar cost average into, and, you know, reap the benefits of as a beneficial like holder over time. But anyway, quant I think has passed the shit test from my perspective. Very few assets were performing better than Bitcoin during this market, let alone just melting faces versus Bitcoin. This is the best chart that had the best bull run versus Bitcoin, to my knowledge, you know, to my current knowledge. Obviously, there was probably some altcoins, super micro alts that had their day in the sun, but ultimately, you know, where are they now? I could be completely wrong about that, but from my perspective, I hold quant in high regard in this upcoming bull cycle. I do think that as it currently stands, it has outperformed Bitcoin, and it looks like it could gear up for another rally to the upside. So I am confident in my perspective to dollar cost average into this asset to then reap some benefits and, you know, swap some profits into Bitcoin. That's really what I would love to do, frankly. All right, so going back to I would say, I think Ethereum is the more important asset as of late. So let me go back to the daily. So I keep forgetting to mention this, but I do have an anchored volume weighted average price tagged to the local bottom of this recent swing low and current high. So essentially, the fair market value price at this time is 1,354.77. Okay, now obviously price can consolidate to the upside and actually break to the upside. Okay, but if that doesn't happen, we have to prepare for the worst. I honestly do see this line as some form of support. So worst case scenario, you know, let's say we get a daily candle close below 1,510. You know, let's say we lose the psychological level of 1,500. Okay, what will happen then? From that point, I would flip bearish, frankly. I would open up a short, and realistically, I would hold that short up until I see this area. So I know I've been talking a lot of bullish scenarios, but I do want to prepare you for the worst. I do want you to have a mindset where no matter where the market goes, you can arbitrage from that position. Okay, so this isn't financial advice. This isn't like, hey, open up a short. Okay, no. I just want you to think from a standpoint of an investor. There is no such thing as up only. There are obviously moments in time where like it gets ridiculous, but there's consolidation and there's dumping all the time. So there's always an opportunity to be had. It's just about the mindset that you put in, and try your best to not be biased, because sometimes biases will get you in trouble. But overall, now I'm just ranting and talking philosophical stuff. But anyway, um, structure is still sound. Now, I don't think I mentioned this, but this daily candle right here, you could make an argument that this is a gravestone doji. Okay, the bottom wick is a little long for my taste, so it's hard for me to classify it as a gravestone doji, but those are bearish reversal warning signs. Now, how you invalidate this gravestone doji is for price to break above basically the top of the wick. Okay, you need wicks higher and you need candle closes higher. So it's put a lot of pressure on the bulls to perform within the coming days. Now, will that happen? I'm not sure. Will price roll over? I'm frankly not sure. We are seeing some bipolarism, if you will, in the price, because we are seeing a bullish pennant break to the upside, but we're also seeing a gravestone doji. So that's one of the main reasons as to why I had to mentally prepare you guys for worst case scenario if price were to continue dumping. I know this was super long-winded, but I just wanted to make sure that everything was covered properly. Ethereum right now, from what I'm seeing in the charts, is leading the market. Funny enough, that does happen sometimes, but overall, we are seeing some decent moves off of altcoins. But to this point in time, I'll probably leave you guys off with that. But anyway, I appreciate you if you're still here. Thank you for your time. Take care, and yeah, have a good night. Bye bye.